Good morning. On behalf of the Publications Office of the European Union, welcome to this fourth webinar dedicated to eNotices2. I'm Luca Martinelli. I'm the new head of unit of the unit TED and EU Public Procurement at the Publications Office in Luxembourg. I'm here with Carl Ferrand, head of sector for reception and production. You know that the Publications Office is in charge of receiving notices, public procurement notices to be published in the official journal S on the TED website. I would like to give you some words before giving the floor to my colleagues in introduction and background, aim, organization and logistics about this online meeting. Well, first of all, about myself, I took over from Manuela Cruz, that you might have known, the previous head of unit for many years. In the context of a reorganization of the Publications Office, Manuela now moved to the unit dealing with the official journal LNC, which is the legislation part of the official journal. I have experience here at the Publications Office working in different units for more than 12 years, and previously I worked at the European Commission in DG Information Society and Media and Connect since 1997. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, first of all, be sure that in my new capacity, together with my colleagues, we are aiming at providing to you the best possible and continuously improving service of publication of notices. You know that there has been a change with the introduction of eForms. The implementing regulation of 2019 of the Commission introduced the eForm for submitting notices, replacing the old standard forms. The previous tool that was meant to submit the old standard forms, eNotices, had been developed and stayed alive for many years, but is now replaced by eNotices2 that allows for the transmission of these eForms. You know that there has been a transition period based on the regulation that started in November 2022, when the new eNotices2 was made available, and the transition period ended on 25th October last year, 2023, when eForms became mandatory. There has been a tolerance period until the end of the month of January this year, where it was possible to use both tools, eNotices and eNotices2. And since 1st of February, only transmission through eNotices2 is possible, and eNotices has been shut down. You know that there has been a change of logic with eForms. eForms are data-driven, so the focus is not anymore on the simple publication through a PDF notice, is about the collection of quality data. There are about 40 procurement forms foreseen in the regulation. Before there were 25, and the fields, optional or mandatory fields, conditional mandatories, also increased. This has led to an increase in the complexity of the forms that, of course, we are trying now to manage and to make it possible for buyers to submit notices in an effective way. We already organized 3 webinars, three. So this is the fourth. It was September, October, November. Carl already demonstrated the feature of eNotices2, and based also on request, we now decided to have this fourth session. We also published consolidated questions and answers based on the result of the sessions, and we continue to do so. So who is the audience of this session? This is targeted for users of eNotices2, so those that were using previously eNotices or that started using eNotices2 are the correct target for this session. This is not aimed at e-senders or IT developers that provide public procurement services. We'll have a specific workshop dedicated to them next Wednesday, 20th of March, and this is not dedicated to reusers of CAD data, for which we will have a workshop on the 17th of April. So some housekeeping rules. Sorry if there are technical issues. We had many requests. Now I think we are about 320 participants. Keep, of course, microphone and video shut, closed to avoid interference. We have a support team with us beyond Carl. There is Jenny, Panos, Ilenia, Enrico, and Marco. Normally, we would like to work in English. And how we will proceed, there will be a presentation of the core functions of eNotices2 by Carl that will take about 1 hour. After which we'll have a break to collect the questions, and then we'll come back after about 30 minutes to close with a question and answer session of another 30 minutes. So we plan to close by noon. As was mentioned in the chat, the session is recorded. And I think this is more or less what I wanted to tell you, and without, of course, you know, you're well available that through eNotices2 there is a specific help form that you can use so that we can proceed also in collecting questions that way. With this, Carlo, did I forget anything? Otherwise, I will give you the floor.
Yes, just to say your microphones are muted because there are many of you, so you cannot speak. You can turn off your cameras, thank you. That's good for the bandwidth of the application, for the platform. And if you have questions, you can put them in the chat in WebEx, where good morning and thank you for your many good morning questions. Okay, so we are here together because many of you have recently started using eNotices2. So this means that we now have, in total, there are 14,000 users in eNotices2. And when we offered you to come to a webinar quite recently, over 2,000 of you said you wanted to attend. This meant we have split the teams. We've split the groups into different sessions because we cannot handle so many at the same time on this WebEx platform. So today we have selected those of you who said you have no experience or not very much experience with eNotices2. So we assume you are beginners. Yeah, as Luca said, we have other audiences which we addressed through specific ones. You might have colleagues who said they had more experience and they got invited for next week, for the 21st. We have another webinar there. We won't invite you because we cannot physically host you, but we will share the recordings from both sessions so you don't miss out, and we will have a single set of questions and answers. So the information will be available. If you're in the EU institutions, we know we have lots of colleagues from EU institutions. Almost all of you will be using our internal PPMT tool. So if you have any questions, maybe reach us directly, or we will work with the PPMT colleagues. There are some cases where you will continue using eNotices2. We'll provide some specific guidance. and also colleagues from the European Investment Bank, Council of Europe Bank, and European Central Bank, we can deal with your questions directly. So, but you're welcome because you are users as well. In many countries, there are already e-procurement providers or central government application that allows the submission of notices. So those of you who are here today using eNotices2, it's because there is no suitable provider in your country. So eNotices2 is basically the fallback solution if there's no national or commercial solution available. So for example, in Germany, it's mandatory to send all your messages through a certified provider, and they all reach us through a central hub. So normally you shouldn't be using eNotices2, apart from the passenger transport regulation or business registrations. In Portugal, we know that the Portuguese authorities were setting up a system, which unfortunately didn't go live last month, but hopefully in the next weeks or months, it will be available so that eNotices2 you might not need to continue using it. I will start sharing just so you know where the regulation is. So we have some links on the homepage. I will just check I can share my browser. Oops. Okay. So this is the official journal where the regulation was published. This is a consolidated version, so the 2019 original one. There was an amendment in 2022, which is what is available right now in eNotices2. There's another amendment which will add some fields later this year. So here you can read why eNotices exists, and in your own language as well. And it's quite a complicated directive, regulation, but it explains where the forms come from and what they correspond to in the European directives. And then there's a long table that describes all the fields that are available and which fields are available in which form and if they're mandatory or optional. So this is the legal basis which we have turned into eNotices2 for you. So we had the 3 webinars. So most of you are here because you have started quite recently. So when eNotices1 was switched off at the end of January, and you suddenly found yourself using this system. So today I'll try and focus on the basics. I don't know if we'll have the time to do everything, but if not, we'll cover it in the other webinars. And last year's webinars also cover very similar things to what I'm doing now. So the main basics are to start a new procedure in eForms, a contract notice. And what is quite common is you want to award a procedure that you already started in the old forms. So a procedure that overlaps the 2 types of forms. I will be using Directive 24 as an example, because that's the most common one. It's the general directive for public procurement, as opposed to Directive 23 of 2014, and Directive 25 of 2014 for sectoral offer concessions. And there's also the defense directives. So I know you are working with national legislation, but it's important to know which European directive you are based on. But I'll show you how we can help you. And I won't be covering more sophisticated parts like the organization, structured organizations, work groups, modification of contracts, and hidden fields, voluntary ex ante transparency notices, prior information notices. I won't cover all those other cases because the core ones are the contract notice and award. I'm afraid we can only provide these sessions in English, so I will demonstrate in English, even though you will all be using your own language, because they're not very many English-speaking users of eNotices2. Ireland and Malta have their own systems. So post your questions in English. If you put them in your own language, it is possible, but we won't treat them today. Maybe you can translate them and answer them later on in the questions and answers. So we have some capacity for Spanish, Italian, French, Greek, but we can't cover them all together. Okay, so the biggest challenge is in eNotices2 and eForms itself is there are a lot more fields and there are a lot more rules, and the structures are different. So some aspects you'll recognize, you will know what to put in because it's what you've been doing before, and some things will be different. So I'll try and show them. When I do my demonstration now, I have set up some information already to help me fill in the forms quicker, so I can get to the difficult parts quicker. So you might see me take in a few shortcuts. I'll try to explain them as I go along. When you registered, we also ask you if you're willing to participate in the usability study. This is something we'll do later this year. And we'll try to find a representative sample. So you might get an invitation again. But be aware we do take the usability seriously, and we are trying to work on that continuously to improve it. We know the forms themselves are difficult, and they are never going to get any simpler because that's the legislation that has been decided by the member states and the European Commission. We cannot escape the law, but we are trying to see what we can do in the application itself to make it easier to use. So on the 31st of January, or the 1st of January, you might have reached eNotices1 and realized you couldn't submit notices anymore. That was the end of the transition period. You can still consult your notices in the old application until the end of June if you want to see something, but there's no migration of information. So they stay there, and after the 30th of June, they will not be there. Of course, your published notices are on 10, so they never get lost. They're there forever, or 10 years online and stored internally. But we'll show you how you can import them into eNotices2. So all the ones you still need to use, you can import them one by one into eNotices2. Let's see. So yes, I said we have most of you are from Greece or Spain, Italy or France. We have taken a lot of Polish users have a separate session. You will have been informed separately. Not there. And most of you only send a few notices per year or per month. So it's not like you're in eNotices2 every day. You come here when you need to from time to time. So I also show you some differences in how we publish, because we have changed our applications to improve some things like the publication workflow and the validation process. Okay, to get started. Sorry, so if you reach eNotices2, the homepage, we have some basic information about the regulation, about the help page you can find, and what is useful for you to test, like a playground, is to use the preview environment. So this is an environment which we have set up. If you can see in the link, its preview is in the URL, and even on the main homepage you can link to it. And in this environment, you can submit, you can test whatever you want. There's no risk of it going on to TED. So pay attention, you're in the right link, because they look identical. They are designed to look identical. That whatever you see in production, whatever you see in preview, behave the same way. Be careful you don't submit a test in the main one. But it's a playground. What happens in this preview environment is there's an imitation of publishing on TED. So at 3 o'clock every afternoon, there is the process of what we call an export in the internal system, which prepares an official journal for the next working day to publish on TED. It's a fake, well, it's a real export, but there's like a fake publication, which pretends that it publishes it 4 o'clock later. This allows you to simulate the publication process within an hour. So between it being exported and 1 hour later, it'll say it has been published. So you'll see these statuses are useful to practice. So this is what I'm presenting today. You will see we have the help page. So it's a bit hidden down here. You can also reach it here. So please read the help page. First, it doesn't have all the answers. We don't have a comprehensive guide of all the options, but there is information which is also available in different languages, which will allow you to see what happened. So I get error messages, and there's some tips on how to get around it. I need to continue a procedure, like I'll show now. So some of the things I will show you are actually described here. But obviously, seeing it today will make it easier to see. And if you don't have the answer, you can contact the help desk. I have to say right now, our help desk is very busy. A lot of you have a lot of questions, so please bear with us when we get around to your emails. We're hoping that today we will answer some of your questions. There is one thing to bear in mind. If you do want help from the help desk and you want the help desk to look at your account, there is an option to delegate the actions, delegate your access in the account settings. So this is me and my delegation. It is designed also to delegate to your colleagues. You can share with people you trust. If you're away on holiday, you can say, please have a look, and your colleagues can have access and you can share it. But you can set up the dates for how long you want to make it available, say a week, because we wait for a week. And if you want to delegate to the help desk, you press this button here and it fills in the email. If not, you put the email of your colleague. And then the help desk has delegation, or your colleague. And then you can stop it at any time and you get it back. So that's useful if you want help for that. So I'll go back to the home page. So I will now create a contract notice. I have chosen an Irish notice, which is in English, from South Dublin County Council. And I will try to recreate this as a contract notice, so to show what sort of information exists today in the old forms and how it would be represented in the new forms. So you can see that there's information, you will see that information which used to be at procedure level is now moved down at lot level. So in each lot, you can have different information, which until now was common for the whole procedure. So there's some repetition of information. We will see that the organizations exist only once and can be linked to different roles. So if you have a contractor who wins 5 lots, you will only define the contractor once and link it to many lots. They're more code lists, so they're structured information. So you'll see it as drop-down list, you can choose them. And there are also fields which are optional, but about strategic procurement or links to other regulations like the Clean Vehicles Directive. That is growing the amount of fields which are added, because this allows reporting through the contract notices to satisfy certain legislation. And there's also features about what is called publish later or unpublished fields, where you can choose certain fields to not publish them. So instead of not publishing the whole notice, you can publish the whole result, but certain fields you can hide. I won't cover that today, but just so you know that they are out there. So I'm going to announce this call for tender I have. It's for 3 maintenance services in South Dublin, and I will start filling it in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a notice. So I will choose my language. In this case, it will be English. And my next step. If you're a beginner, this wizard, the notice creation wizard, will help you choose a type of notice. Instead of knowing which of the 40 forms you want to do, you can start with this. So what I want to do, 99% of you will be doing a public procurement notice. These are other regulations for passenger transport services and business registrations, European companies, which we also support. Are you any European institution? No. And what are you doing? Planning, it's a competition notice. Here you can see I'm already starting to ask you what sort of, which of the directives I'm going to go into. Am I going into the Defense Directive? Is it Concession Directive? No, this is just basic services. Here's another question. Am I going in one for the sectoral directive? I say no, it's a classic directive. But if you see, this will help you get to the right form and the right legal basis, ultimately. So this can help you. So here I get a subset of the list of the available forms. If I hadn't gone through the wizard and I say no, I just get all the forms listed. And once I know, maybe that'll be quicker next time because I know I always go to that form in the right one. So general procurement, the standard regime. That's what I want. Here is what we call a procedure group name. This is just an internal name for yourself. So you can keep track of it. So, yeah. This. And this will allow me to get started. And now we're finally reaching what takes up all our time. And this is where the challenges start. So just so you know, I'm already in a work group because I'm using the same account I did my previous demonstrations with. But if you're not in a work group, you will see up here that you're in my personal organization. So when you get started, start with a personal organization, that's fine. And if you have a personal organization, you will see an option here to do your form settings. And even when you log in, the application sometimes obviously saying, do you want to set your form settings? This is valuable because it will save you time and will make sure that some things are pre-filled and avoid some errors. If you're in a work group, your form settings are inside the work group, but the idea is the same. So ignore the part about the rest. The most useful ones, which you'll use all the time, I think you will never want to change them, set your default languages. So when you create a notice, it'll assume it's in your language. And set your currency. Almost all the time you're working at the same currency in your country. This is Ireland, they use the euro, which is good. And you can, if you want, if you only use certain legislation, you can already limit the lists of notices which are proposed to you each time. So this can clear away some of the noise in eNotices2 because eNotices2 is trying to do everything for all possibilities. If your possibilities are limited, you always do general procurement. Don't bother with the other ones. Get rid of them. If you see here, yeah. Anyway, you can play with this and see what's useful for you. So I recommend you do that straight away because it's done. If you want, you can also set some default field values. So if I'm a local authority, I'm South Dublin County Council, I always have these things. I have my same information which I want to use each time. And you'll see when we fill in the form that they're pre-filled for me because I have set these defaults. You can't do everything, but there's a few things you can set your country. So this will work. So if I go back to my notices, because I left it in draft now, this is the one I have started. So you'll see it's in draft. There's an autosave function, so every 30 seconds it saves for you. So the first thing, before I start filling in all the parts of the notices, let's identify my organizations, because these organizations, I will then use them in different roles inside the notice. And this is important. So you will see these things, org1, 10.1. These are technical identifiers inside the notice. So they're assigned directly by the system. You don't need to worry, but occasionally you need to know which number for each business entity that exists. And here I will show you that I have already set up what is called the address book. So these are just organizations or of any type which I've already entered. So then I can import them quickly into my notice. So I'm South Dublin County Council. I will always be using myself. I can set that up. And I have a review organization. It's always the same. It's the High Court in Dublin. So just get back to my notice again. Sorry, jump around. So back in my notices. So organizations. The first organization I need to create will be the buyer. I can fit it in directly here. Be used, but I'm going to import it from my address book because it'll go a bit quicker. So this is just an organization. It has no role yet. It just exists. So here I've created one organization. I want to add a new. You'll see these add new options all over the place. I'm going to create my other one. And here, oh, sorry, that was the thing. If you see when I do add new, sorry. When I add a new one, I usually clones the previous one I have. So when I added a second organization, it will pre-fill it with whatever the previous one had. Here I'll just overwrite this one with the high font, because I know I will use it. Yeah. Okay, I've got to, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I will remove that one. Yes, my mistake. I imported an organization and brought it straight in. I didn't need to add new. So here are my two organizations. And basically, these are the two I need for my contract notice. I haven't got to the award. So here I now say, now I'm filling the form. One quick way to get started, and it's a source of a lot of confusion, understandably, is when you see this little red asterisk, it means the field is always mandatory in every case. You will notice that there are lots of fields that become mandatory based on what you filled in. So they're mandatory under certain conditions. There is also errors which are generated because if your structure is not complete, the basic structure with the absolutely basic fields is not complete, you will start getting structural errors which are very difficult to understand. We've seen how we can improve that, but it's a challenge at the moment. So we recommend to get started, to fill in all the basic structures, you put mandatory only. Basically, this is the always mandatory or the really essential fields that the structure will not be complete until you complete these ones. If you see when I've toggled this on, I've got rid of a lot of fields which were creating noise, but they're optional. I can safely ignore them at this stage. And it's only later I will see which ones are a problem. So this is how you start the process to get quicker. And here I will start. I have to define the buyer. So I am the buyer. I'm a local authority, and this one because I filled in my default values before. That's what I need to do. Procedure. This gets more interesting. It's defaulted to the right directive because I chose the right one. There should be almost no reason to change this. If you mix them up, it doesn't make sense. In some cases, you might be other if you're not a member. Like if you're an EU institution or something, you might choose another basis. But don't touch this one, because if you've chosen the right form, the legal basis is correct. So here's my title, tree maintenance. Okay. Mistakes. Okay, my nature is services. There should be no surprises for you here. It's the CPV and my classification. So as you see, I'm basically filling in with the similar information to what is in this old form. And there shouldn't be too many surprises. Okay, so that's my overall thing. Tender and terms, this is exclusion grounds is now mandatory in eForms. So this also adds questions, adds a layer of information. Normally, you should fill in all the exclusion grounds. So you should add new and keep going until you have all your exclusion grounds. That's the best practice. And if you can't do that, we strongly recommend it's the most transparent so that suppliers can see immediately if they're going to be excluded or not. There is a shortcut. If you say, like many do say, I want the exclusion grounds are in the procurement document. It's not explicitly in this list yet. This will change in the coming months, there will be some simplification, which will allow you to just point to the documents directly. In the meantime, as a shortcut, it is possible, not recommended, but possible and valid, to say you're using purely national exclusion grounds. This is the most generic option there is. And then you can say, see the procurement documents. I'll take this opportunity to show the tooltips, because these are new since last month. This I, every field has an I, and it comes with a description of the business term. BT stands for business term. These are the ones from the regulation. So you see this long table is business term, and it has a description. This exact description is now available directly in the application. So you don't need to have the regulation open in parallel in your language. This will be in your own language right here. In some cases, we have added a hint with a little question mark, which might give you a bit more information. So we're trying to work on the hints progressively to help you with difficult cases. So that's my exclusion ground. My procedure, I will take an open procedure and lot distribution. Now here, there is this thing called GLO. This is a group of lots. This is something that was introduced with eForms. Basically, we recommend you do not touch group of lots unless you can find a particular need for it. Now, there are countries which are not even using group of lots. So it's an opportunity which was opened by eForms. We, at an implementation point of view, we don't see too many advantages. It only applies for certain cases, allows you to group lots together so they can share certain features if you have many lots. But in the end, when you award the lot, you will still have to award them one by one. The group of lots only helps you a little bit at the for the process of evaluation. So lot distribution, it's optional because so we are seeing if we can just hide this as a default, and people have to activate it, but ignore it. So my my procedure is complete, and I will start doing my lot. Here's a new one. So this is an internal identifier. This is your name for the lot, the one you use for yourself. And it's important that you fill it because when you award it, you will refer to it with that name. This thing that says lot 001, lot 002, this is just within the brackets. When you do the award, the number might be different. That doesn't matter. That's consistent within the notice. But the way you say I'm talking about the same lot will be the identifier you give it. So I can give it whatever. If it's just free text, I can give it the name I want. This can be, I don't know, normal tree maintenance for regular trees. Okay, and here I have to repeat services, so I'm repeating the information I have from the procedure in this case because it's this particular lot. So in this case, I'm actually doing the same thing, so there's nothing more specific in this case. But you'll see there's more information I need to fill in if there's an electronic auction, if the general procurement agreement applies, if I'm using EU funds, and then it's not a framework agreement, it's not a purchase system. So there's a bit more information. You'll see some of these fields are new in eForms. So this is what's coming in now. Selection criteria is also new. Well, the obligation to fill it in. Here again, I can say basic one. If there's more fields that would define to be mandatory. Again, in many cases, hopefully you know. So that I have e-invoicing, e-catalog, e-everything. Ideally, you are e-everything. I'm doing e-procurement. Submission languages, here I say English. I could have English. Let's say I can offer it in Irish as well. Ireland is a bilingual country. And here I can say that electronic submission is allowed. And there are no restrictions to access documents. This would be the ideal case if you can handle it. And who is a reviewer of your organization? Here's my High Court Chief Registrar, which I have already put in my organizations. So here I've just given it a role. Okay, I think I've done my basics. So I've done all the mandatory ones. So I will now try to validate. And this is where it gets interesting, because you see, you start getting the errors. So first of all, I get, this is quite an ugly error. We know it's talking about the XML file that's behind the scenes, which you shouldn't need to worry about. But first, let's see what other things I need to fill in, because by filling in one of these, I could be completing the structure. This is a structure error, which has been shown up. It's talking about a document type. I mean, what is that? How am I supposed to know? Let's have a look. And the trouble if you get that message is that then you don't get links to find what you're missing. But let's have a quick look, because if I untoggle the mandatory fields now, I will probably see some obvious things missing. In the procedure, this is a mandatory, but I think it's good practice. I can give it my name. Maybe I have some number of my own to keep track of it. This is the number of my procedure. It's useful to do it. What else am I missing? We talked about procurement documents. Here, for example, now it's untoggled. I can refer to the procurement documents for exclusion grounds. What else should I put in? Well, I can say main features, but it's not accelerated. I could add additional information. So at procedure and doc level, there's often a free text field. This can be useful to describe cases you cannot describe anywhere else. But none of those seem to be particularly mandatory. So what could it be? So it could be, I said that I had documents that are available, but how can shouldn't I be linking to them? Shouldn't I be giving deadlines? So it's an open procedure. So I need to give the deadline for the receipt of the tender. So it's 1st of April perhaps, and the time. Maybe midday on 1st of April. Be aware that now the time zone is important. It's not local time. The application defaults to your browser one, but if you're working in another time zone, or you're working, I don't know, with an embassy on the other side of the world, make sure you put the local time if that's what's going to be applied. Application use can be important. What else am I missing? In my tender terms, I think here it's a long one. And here, for example, I can also see procurement documents, selection criteria. I can talk about the candidates multi-stage. Here I should also fill in the award criteria. It's not mandatory, but I should. You see this is getting quite long. I can talk about recurrence, if I can have variance, e-invoicing, security clearance, clean vehicles directive, non-disclosure agreements. You can see there are very many. So that's why this mandatory toggle can save you from many fields which are not mandatory, but you might want to add as you gain more confidence, or you have that information. So we have all the strategic procurement questions here. Place of performance. I should normally fill this in. It's not mandatory, but there is one option. You can say anywhere in the country, anywhere in the economic area, or anywhere in the world. That's an option you might want to choose in some cases. If not, you enter your NOTS codes at level 3, your country, and so on. Duration, you should put the duration. So 12 months, I think. should indicate the estimated start date. Would be good. If the renewals. Okay, and then you can link to lots of different organizations you might want to have. So I'll try to validate now. I'm still stuck. So it's the address of the procurement documents and the address for submission. So this is the tricky part. With me, and just have a blank. I forgot where we submission for. I think it's here. Oh, sorry. Okay. So it's a submission method I was missing. So this is the URL of how to submit. I think this is the one I have. Ireland. And here's the one about procurement documents. And there's no access, no restrictions to access, but I didn't provide the link of where the documents would be. So that's what that message is telling me. You are missing the links to here. You cannot say that the documents are available and then not provide a link. So that's what that message was telling me. And now I have validated it successfully. So that is successful. I'll now go ahead with the publication. So I got my green. This is what we're all trying to get to, that nice green box. Oh, not easy, I know. But this is what we're trying to reach. Sorry. I will just show you. No, sorry, we'll cancel this. I won't publish it. I forgot. In fact, I have two lots. Just to show if you have multiple lots. If you say add new, it will clone the one I already had. So do your first lot first. If your lots are quite similar, get one working the way you want to make sure it's valid. And then you can start cloning, and this will go a lot faster because in this one, my lot, I will call it lot 2. It's the emergency pre-arrangements. But everything else is pretty much the same. Same tendering terms, same deadlines, same submission, same dates. I could potentially have different dates for different lots, but here I want to do the same. Let's check that for validate. Good. Okay, now for the publishing process. Before I publish, it will compare what is in my notice and what I've set as the default. It says, oh, you put something different. Do you want to update it? It will invite you and try to help you suggest things that you might do next time. You may or may not use them. Irish I don't use every time. I don't update. And here I have two options. Do I want to publish as soon as possible? So we are no longer in the 5-day fixed period we've had until now. So with the new applications, we're able to go faster. As soon as possible means the next available official journal issue. So that is, I'm still in the morning. There will be an upspot this afternoon, anytime between midday and midnight. When that's all collected, it can be on TED tomorrow morning, no later than 9 o'clock in the morning. So as soon as possible, it gives me that. If I'm 5 or 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening and I say as soon as possible, it's probably too late to catch today's export. It'll catch tomorrow's export and then be on TED the day after. So as soon as possible is usually 1 or 2 days in the future, 1 or 2 working days. So I can also choose, if I want to choose myself how soon, I can choose a date in the future. And if you open this, you can see which dates are available. It's normally Monday to Friday, but there are some dates where we don't publish. So this is Easter Monday, for example, the 1st of May, Europe Day, and so on. You can pick up to 60 days in the future. If you're not in a hurry and you have it ready, you can choose a date if you have some reason. Here I'll just say as soon as possible. Submit the notice. Just confirms what I've said. And that's it. Here what we have is an expected publication date. So here it's told me, indeed, it should be possible to publish tomorrow. So that is quick. And I will get an email when I have submitted successfully, and then we'll get another email when I set the expected publication date to give me some confirmation if I will catch tomorrow or the day after. So if I go back to my notices, I can see that it's now in submitted status. You still have some options in submitted status. Imagine I made a mistake. It hasn't gone yet. When this enters in the exporter today, we will see it switches to the publishing status. Once it's in publishing, it's already in the package for tomorrow morning. There's nothing I can do. But while it's in submitted, so in the morning, I'll be fine. I can still stop it. You don't have to contact the help desk. You don't have to contact anyone. You can stop it yourself. Say, oh, hang on, I made a mistake. I'm stopping this version. This version of the notice will now never be published. It's stopped. I have to refresh to see that. And then I will be fine. That's my contract. That's going nowhere. But okay, maybe I just want to change something. I can resubmit. I get a chance to re-edit it. And now, I mean, we just made a mistake. Urgent 3 things. Made a mistake on a date or whatever. You will validate, and I will submit again. Don't update. As soon as possible. Off it goes. And my notice has. Now I have 2 versions. The stopped ones, which is just for information, and that one that should be on 10 tomorrow. Okay, if it's in publishing, you have to wait until it's published. Once it's published, I can change it again. It is possible to change a notice. And in eForms, a change notice is quite different from the old Form 14 core agenda you have used. Before, you would just say, change this date, and we would publish a notice, like a mini notice saying the date has changed. In eForms, the whole notice is published again. It's a consolidated latest version that's complete. So it means that when you're on TED and you see the latest version, it has everything in it. There's no need to try to look through everything that could have happened. So the user on TED will always be told that there's a latest version, and when they go to the latest version, all the information will be there. I won't. Okay, we're pretty short of time. I should have known this would take a while. If I want to change something that exists, so if imagine I wanted to change this one, I would import it into TED. I would have to upgrade it to an eForms notice, fill in what was missing that's mandatory in eForms, and publish the change. That is an option. If I change one that has already been published in eForms, which I don't have the example here, but I would, when something is in published status, I have an option to create a change notice. And you define the reason for change, and you would go through the steps. I don't get a chance to change it to show it here because I just want to show you a really basic way of doing the results. So if I had another Irish one I wanted to do. My friends in South Dublin County Council. So I wanted to show the process to award a notice. If you can bear with us for another maybe 10 minutes, we can eat into the break a little bit. To award a notice that you announced in the old system. So I will do it. I will mix it up a little bit just to save time. I'll explain why in a minute. This is the South Dublin. They are buying internet services in this one lot. They published it last year, and now they want to award it. What I will do here, I will import from TED. So I will just get this number, the publication number. So now the publication numbers are using this format, not the one with the S and so on. Always use this format with the 6 to 8 digits and the year. I will copy that and I will import it here. I will say award internet. Normally, if you start a procedure in eForms, you will see the whole procedure linked together here, linked through a procedure identifier as well. Here I'm halfway through. So I've imported the competition, so it's like a frozen version. And the reason I have to import it, a published one, is because I need to continue the procedure here now. So I need an existing competition to be able to create the result. The next notice in this process, in this case, is quite simple. It's just the result, the contract award. And if you see what has happened is it's converted, it's imported what exists from the old one and filled in as much as it can in the new one. The as much as it can has some limitations, but you'll see at least my organizations are there. So it came in, my buyer, so these are the two ones I had before, a bit similar to the one I created. My procedure is basically there, my lots are there. So even if you have no lots, you will need a procedure and a lot. So you will have to repeat yourself a little bit, even if there are no lots. So you will always have at least one lot in the notice, even if your procedure isn't actually split into lot. But the structure of the information requires it. And in eNotices2, we've chosen the convention. If there's only one lot, we call it lot 0. But that's just an internal number. So I have quite a lot here. But this is my result. I can fill in the result now. And I will now show you the sort of thing you are experiencing already. If I try to validate this, I will get a long list of missing things. So this is the hard work. But some of them, you will see it's always the same thing. I need to put in the registration number of an organization. I need to get the country right, the NUTS codes, things like that. The bulk of this is not too heavy, and that will reduce it quite a lot. And once you've done that, then you can focus on the challenge of the result itself, which is the new part. Because most of those errors were just filling in information that was missing in the contract notice, which is now mandatory. Which, if you had started with eForms, you wouldn't have to do that because you would have everything ready. So the result notice repeats quite a lot of information of the contract notice, the original competition. And that work you have to do if you're between the two. Okay, I will not use this one because I have one version. If I can try and squeeze it in. I already started doing it for our trees one, which we know and love, with 2 lots. I will try to award this one. So I've actually imported the real one, which we were looking at before from South Dublin. So I've actually imported this contract notice. Is this one here? It's the real one. And I have started drafting the result. So to go quicker, I've already tidied up the lots, the procedure, the buyer, and all that information. All those errors we saw, I've done those ones. If I validate now, I only have one big error, which says basically you are missing the entire result section. So this is what's happening. So that's fair enough. It's a very basic error, but it's telling me what's missing. And now this is a part where before you start, it's important to imagine all the pieces you're trying to link together. I recommend you think of that before you start filling it in, saying, I have these tenderers, they want this lot, there were these consortiums, there were these contracts. So all these pieces that we will now fill in, prepare it before, so that you have a structured way of filling it in when you reach this. So first of all, I need to know, I have more organizations now because I have some companies involved. So I've got, there's me, the buyer, my review organization, which is just for information now. Here I will start creating the companies, the economic operators. Again, I have put them already in my address book to make it a bit quicker here, but I have 2 companies that were involved, Shamrock Trees up here, and I will also do another one. I've got one for each lot in this case, SOFT Trees, which I have created. Okay. And always updates that like. Okay, so I've got my organizations. They're there. Now back to the result. The value of the contracts I can put in. I will skip it for now to make it quicker. You will see there's a lot of these questions which keep talking about published later, not immediately published. And you get it for all the fields that can be hidden. I won't show it today, but this would allow you to hide, if you fill this in, it will allow you to hide this one field. If you want to hide multiple fields, you have to fill it in for every field you have to hide. I won't show it today, and in a future release, we will hide it by default because we see it's very noisy. You can see it makes a lot. But again, here, if you want, you can toggle to mandatory only, and it hides some of them, but it hides a bit too much, perhaps. You should normally be given the value of your contract, but it's not actually mandatory. Okay, let's switch. So first is tendering party, who tendered. If I want, I can put all the tenderers, even the ones that didn't win. That's a voluntary transparency if you want. Here I will do the basics. I will only mention the tenderers who actually want something. So tendering party allows you to have consortia or subcontractor. So if there's more than one organization inside, even if you only have one organization, you still need a party. So I will say Shamrock Trees is the one who won. And inside this, there is just one organization. That's a little bit redundant in this case, but potentially I could have a consortium. It could be Shamrock Trees and SOE Trees International working together. And they together make up the Shamrock Trees Consortium. That's how it would work. In this case, I'll keep it simple. It's just Shamrock Trees and no subcontractor. Then we might change the orders here, but so this is the consortium. They made one tender. And here I have to start linking together. So this is the name I will give the tender. So I will say for lot 1, tender 1. This is just almost for my process to keep track of things. I can talk about ranking if I wanted to. If it was a variant, I should give the result. So let's give that for now. And what am I talking about? Now I'm going to link the tenders and the lots. So for lot 1, who is the tender and party? Here we're missing, we need to improve this to label, but this TPA1, TPA is tender and party 1, so the one I had before. And here I can enter subcontracting information. Here, be careful with subcontracting. We need to change the order of the fields, because if you enter subcontracting, and if you know about the value and the percentage of subcontracting, you have to go to the bottom and say there is some subcontracting taking part. So yes, there is subcontracting, and unless you say yes or no, you cannot fill in the rest. Unless you say it's known or not, you cannot fill in the percentage and the values. So if you're doing subcontracting, don't follow. Make sure you fill in all the fields consistently. Otherwise, you will get some strange messages. So that's just a word of warning about subcontracting, which trips up many of you because, yeah, the fields are in the wrong order. We must change that. So I have my tenders, tender party in a tender, and I'm going to sign a contract with them. So maybe this is my number for me. Trees. This is my procedure number. One contract, for example, and I chose them. Chose them last week, and I signed the next day. I can publish a contract online if I want to. Blah blah blah. This is stuff I don't care. So which tender went together? So here I'm linking these tenders. It was a lot one, tender one that went together, and that's what I need to link. I would skip contract signatory. This is the buyer normally. So it's usually redundant only if you happen to have someone else who signs it, but it's not the contractor, it's the buyer in this case. Here I can even talk about if I'm using the recovery and resilience. This is very good for reporting. It depends on your country, maybe you're encouraged to have that. And finally, put that all together. And this is a crucial field. Do I have a winner? I've signed a contract, so I should finish it off and say who the winner was. So I have one winner, at least one winner. It's the winner for lot one. I took tender one, is the one that won, which has the amount. And it's linked to this contract, contract one. So we have to improve that a little bit. And there might be other information which I don't know. Clean vehicle directive might be about. There's a lot of statistics about review requests, complainants, how many submissions you got. Make sure if you put a number that you put the type together, that you make sure that these types also have a number. And there are a few rules to make sure that the numbers add up. So this is all optional, but if you do go into it, do it carefully because it brings up lots of rules to check. And I think I should have a result. Oh, it is mandatory. Okay, so this is a conditionally mandatory field. So if you notice, I said, let's try and read this. If I read this message, it's saying the value is mandatory in this type of form. And it's only become mandatory now because I have a winner. If I didn't have a winner, I wouldn't be forced to put the number. But I do have a winner. So now I'm obliged to put in the number, which is very good. We should say how much you want. So that's an example of what came up. And here you could see the message appeared at the top, and then I can click and it will take me to the field. It doesn't always work because if your structure is not right, the application doesn't know where to take it. But that's how we do it. I think I had something else. Yes. Okay. So I have an organization with no role. That can happen. So somewhere in here. So you imagine I created SOS trees, but it has no role. It's an orphan organization. And it's also telling me that I have lot 2, but I haven't done anything with it. I haven't awarded it. So I have 2 choices. Okay, assume I have done, I have the winner and SOS trees is the winner of lot 2. I would just basically go through the result part again, create a new tendering party, give it a tender, give it a contract, and link it all together and say SOS trees is the one who won the second one. I could also say that for lot 2, I have no winner yet. The competition is still ongoing. I'm informing people I would have awarded lot 1, but not lot 2 yet. I'm telling you, I can do that. Or the other option is I remove lot 2 completely from my result and only award lot 1. So you can have as many results as you want, and you can award the lots at different times. That's the easiest one. Here, I just want to tell people what's going on. I know the winner wasn't chosen, but I haven't finished yet. I don't know, I have a change in needs or something else is going on. And I think, no, this is the wrong, I'm breaking, sorry. I don't want to break the one I have awarded. I would have another lot result, which is clone the other one, and I would say it's not chosen. Or I could just say that it didn't go anywhere. I don't know, something changed. I didn't get any tenders, or I cancelled it, or I ran out of money. So okay, I was a bit too quick. I'm trying to go too fast. I have to say that for lot 2, I didn't have a winner. Good. So I'm trying to go a bit too fast. Okay, my result is okay. I have one lot with a winner, one lot without a winner. That's what I've said. And because I got a bit too fast, in fact, this organization, which in my original demo I was going to make a winner, in fact, I don't need them. And so I don't have any orphaned organizations here. It's successful. So I'll try to wrap up because we're well into the break. Sorry about that. What I've just shown you is how to award a notice that was announced in the old format. I had to do quite a lot of filling in of fields to complete some of the information, but the awarded part, if you saw how things link together and what can be missing and any links. So the errors you will get will be you haven't linked this to that, or that link is missing. And if you miss some links, you might find yourself you don't show the winner. It is possible to go all the way to having a tendering party attend in a contract, but if you don't link the lot and the result at the end, there is no winner. So if I see the result here, I can view it in PDF. I'll show it in PDF. You can see before you publish what it looks like. And this is how it will appear pretty much on TED. So this is repeating more or less the contract notice. And here, oops, sorry, too fast. I have my winner. So I awarded one winner. I should have put more information about this tender itself for lot 1. And for lot 2, there was no winner. I've finished it. And this also, no one had chosen, the competition closed, is also the way you cancel a lot. So imagine you publish something and you say, oh, forget it, I made a mistake. You don't cancel your contract notice, you award it with no winner. So then it's fully transparent for the operators out there saying, you announced something, no winner. If you just try to cancel it, say forget it, it's a bit ambiguous. This is how you do it. So when we talk about cancel a procedure or cancel a lot, you do it this way with no winner chosen. And that is always the way you can close, you bring closure to the procedure. And here at the bottom we can see the organization has it has 2 roles. It has information and buyer. You can see this is what was imported from the old notice. You can see that the court had 3 roles: mediation, review, and information about review. And here we see that Shamrock Trees was a tenderer and a winner. In this case, it could have just been a tenderer. So this is how you can see that the organizations can have multiple roles, and we link them all together. Okay, sorry that took too long, but as you're all beginners, I wanted to make sure that you could see at least the 2 main reasons to use eNotices2, the ones that you will use the most popular. I suggest we take a break, maybe take a bit longer, come back at 11:40. That's okay, it gives us 20 minutes. I haven't seen all the questions which have been coming through. I just saw there was some chat, and my colleagues have been collecting the questions and started to look at them. We'll try in the 20 minutes after the break to answer as many as possible. We won't get too far, but we'll see which are the really pressing questions you might still have. Hello again. Thank you for your patience. and I hope you enjoyed the break. Thanks for all the questions coming in. We'll now attempt, with the help of my colleagues who have been trying to collect your questions and group them together in the next 20 minutes to try to give a summary of the most pressing ones or the questions that came up several times to try to catch it. You can continue chatting or putting questions in the chat, that's okay. We will take them into a consolidated document and try to give some common answers in general. But I'll try and catch them quickly now so that you can go away with the basic information. So I will jump through some of the groupings we have had. So yeah, there is one question about the language. Yes, I know many of you are Portuguese or Spanish, Italian, Greek, French, and other languages, and it would be much more useful to you and possibly your colleagues who might speak less, not such good English as you, to be able to share videos with them that they could use it as well. So as we mentioned before, we don't have that much capacity in-house for the languages. What we might do is maybe contact some of the ministries or the organizations, the offices in your countries, and see if we can work with them to have a session, which would be useful because they would also be people who understand your national legislation. So when you reach eNotices2, you're exposed to the European level, they talk about directives, but you on daily work, you are not working with the directives, you're working with your national transposition. And often there are equivalent meanings in your own language, and you have to understand what it means at the European level. Also a question on the translations you see on the screen. So the descriptions, for example, in the tooltips, they come directly from the directives, from the eForms regulation. But even there, they might not always be clear. They might not be using the same terms you have. And again, we will work with the ministries in each country to try to make sure the translations make sense. There's terminology which is very specific, which it could be our translators at the European Commission have chosen a valid word, but it's not the word used in your country. For these webinars, again, that's quite hard for us to present in other languages, but we'll see what is possible. We'll try to do that. Some of you are asking about you as a buyer. So if you're a private company and you're working on behalf of a public organization, there are some legal types which talk about, I think it's you are subsidized by a public body. So you are not a public body, but you are using public funds, so that's why you publish. So please have a look. Again, that list may not map what exists in your country. I don't know, you live in a federal country, there's no link about federal organizations. You'll have to find something in between. But please try, yeah. So if you're using public funds, that's the only reason you're here. If you're not using public funds, then you do not need to publish, and in fact, you should not be publishing for public procurement. If you're not subject to Directive 24, 23, or 25, or the defense directives, you shouldn't be publishing on the official journal on TED. And if you are publishing, normally the legal types are the ones in the directives. So you can look at the directives and see if it concerns you. Question about registration numbers. That's again in eForms, there's numbers, but more identifiers for lots of things. The idea is that if each organization has a registration number, it'll be easier to see if it's the same one. Because if you can imagine today, people enter lots of companies, and when the ministries or European Commission or even you are trying to see who won which contracts, the same name comes up again and again, but in different forms, you never know if it's actually the same company. So if you put in a VAT number or a national registration number, especially for companies, it's much easier. It can get complicated if you're a private, if you're a public organization like the Court of Justice or the High Court might not have a number. So put in a value which you use again and again, just to give it a number. So it's true that some public bodies don't have any form of numbering. There's a question about the NUTS codes, so the national subdivision. You have to enter that NUTS level 3, so it's the lowest level of this territorial classification. So in some cases, you might have to enter quite a few codes if you are operating at in several areas. There is some discussion if it can be a bit larger at a higher level of NUTS, but that's the legislation says NUTS 3. Voluntary ex-ante transparency notices we didn't cover today. We might do it in the other session. That's a particular case, but they do exist. So there are some forms for the direct awards that is possible. Correction after publication is change notice, so you have to wait till it's published to do that. The Greek procurement office, we will see if we can work with them. Some questions about the legislation. So again, eNotices2 works for all cases, and there's no national tailoring. So in the eForms regulation, it was possible in some countries to say these fields are mandatory, they're obligatory in this country. eNotices2 does not know that information. So you might. So if in your country, for example, you might have to declare something about strategic procurement, are using green public procurement criteria, and in your country you must declare that. It's up to you to fill in the field. eNotices2 doesn't know if it's mandatory in your country. So be aware of what might be happening in your country. That's why maybe if we have some sessions for each language, it could be useful to have someone from the ministries who could help us translate things for your experience as well. Okay, yes, the most serious problem is the validation. Indeed, that is what will take you the most time. On a daily basis, that is the hardest one. I do recommend that you go through that mandatory only option first to get started, because the worst errors, the most difficult errors, and something we need to work on are the ones that say XPath, XML, and you get a long, technical looking message, which might give you an idea where it is, but the words are not always the same. So it says tender in process, and you think, which is that one? And you have to find it. So we know that's difficult, and you'll have seen when I was trying to demonstrate, I couldn't find the field which I knew it was there, and I had to go and look for it where it was missing. So that takes some time. So it is possible if you're in the right tab, you can search in your browser, you look for the ET field, and you'll find the right page on the screen. And that often you can add one entry at a time and validate and reduce the numbers. And yes, the condition mandatory field, that is tricky. So if you saw when I was right at the end, when I was doing a result, I'd left the value empty because at that moment I hadn't said there was a winner. And it's only when I said there was a winner that the other field became mandatory. So it was on the 5th tab, and it was telling me go back to the 1st tab because now it's mandatory. So that dynamic validation is something we're working on, but it's quite complicated because it has to be the form has to be aware of everything that's happening that you are entering bit by bit. Again, if you change the type of procedure, you have different deadlines. So that also these are conditionally mandatory fields, and that will trip you up often because you are filling in as you go along. And then later you have to go back to the fields that you missed because you didn't know that at the time that were mandatory. Question about touch points. So touch points are a part of each organization. I don't recommend using them. It's an option that exists. But if you have an organization which has multiple contact points, so sub points, sub parts of the organization, you can create them, and it is possible to attribute different roles to the touch points. It can get a bit complicated because the rules for which organizations can have which roles, and if you're a touch point or not, you will come across some rules that do it, but it is possible. You could say, I'm the buyer, this is the main one, but to get the documents, it's my organization, but it's not a contact point, so it's not the main contact point. So you might want to do that. And then it can have a role as an information provider of some sort, perhaps. So that's tricky. Yeah, make sure you have a review body, because otherwise you will get some failures. Yeah, the contract signatory must be the buyer, not the tenderer. Trying to see the ones which weren't covered in the demo. The list of business terms, you can use the one from the regulation. It's structured in a different way, but at least you get a broader overview of the business terms that exist. It's a bit of an ugly table, but at least you can see the full breadth, which is then represented in tabs on the screen in different ways. So conditional mandatory ones. Yeah, so like we say, pure mandatory are the ones which are always mandatory. That's the only one that appears with that tab. There is that tab which says errors only, the toggle errors only, which indeed doesn't work too well. So we will review that to see if we can do something a bit more useful with that toggle. Okay. Yes, one thing that can trip you up quickly is the currency, because you will get lots of errors if the currency is missing. So set it as the default. That will save you a lot. Can you submit a notice with errors? What has changed in the publishing process? Until now, when you submitted something in eNotices2 in the old system, it had some validations. Then it would be received by us at the publications office. And in the 5 days before we published, it was possible we would reject it. So that's how it worked until January, because we had a human contractor who would read each notice of yours in your language and check for inconsistencies. So inconsistencies that were checked manually, and then you would get an information saying we couldn't publish it for this and this reason. What has changed now is the rules are almost completely automatic. So when you get validate, we will tell you immediately what the errors are. If you pass validation, it's good enough to publish. There's no further human intervention. So there's no waiting for 5 days to check if you went through. You'll be okay, and the expected publication date will tell you when you can expect it to be on TED. There is one exception, and it's quite rare, but if you're outside the European Economic Area or one of the partner countries, you might get a message saying there's a lawfulness warning. So it's only a warning. Your notice is technically valid, but it will be checked manually by the publications office. So those exceptions. So I don't know if you're British and you're publishing a notice, we will check saying, okay, there are cases where British notices can be published if they're using EU funds. It's still possible, but that will be checked manually one by one. But for most of you, you're publishing in your country, you're in the European Economic Area, they'll go through, your validation will go straight through. So go quicker. The help desk, yes, we're sorry about the help desk. They're overwhelmed. They're taking a while to get back to you. We want you to, we're very glad that so many of you come here to this webinar because we hope it answers some questions. Again, that's case by case. The errors you get in your particular combination is what's going to take the most difficult. What's going to take the most work for you. So we have literally hundreds of emails we're trying to work through and get back to you. But yeah, we have some help here, and we hope this makes it easier. So all the translations I covered. Is there a manual? We don't have a manual as such. So we have the help page, which we're trying to build up with the ones that get you past the biggest questions are there. We have these webinars, which we hope can be shared. So there'll be recordings. So if you have any colleagues who missed it or need to get started, they can also follow it. You can watch it again. Yes, I wanted to show you, I'll just show, okay, 2 minutes. Just share my browser again. Oops, sorry. If you can see my browser, if we go to YouTube, so this was where, this was our September one, for example. And this is where I'm showing broadly similar things to what I showed today. But if you click on closed captions, the subtitles, you can get YouTube to generate the subtitles for you. So closed captions and settings, subtitles, and here you put auto translate, and you can choose your language. Yeah, test with Spanish. It's not too bad. It's, yeah, I'm not sure if YouTube will understand all the terminology of public procurement, but you see that something comes through that can help you. So that might help you. And it's got all the languages of YouTube. It's quite complete. Okay, that's for the manual. So can you have multiple buyers? Yes, if you're in a group, you can repeat the groups of buyers, and then you set in the buyer, you will say that there's more than one buyer. So you had the organizations and you have the buyer. And you can say it as a central purchasing body. You can also identify yourself as that. Group of lots, GLO, indeed, keep away from group of lots. We will try to hide it soon. It's something that was created, yeah, some countries have even not used it. So ignore group of lots. And then the tab that goes with it, which is the distribution of lots as well. That's the lots distribution. Indeed, composition of group of lots, lots belonging to the group, it starts getting messy. Once if you go down this road, you will be tripped up by lots of other messages that asking you to fill in the rest of the information. So ignore it. Once you have the published notice, they end up on TED. In the preview environment, there is no TED equivalent, but when you preview the notice, you will see it here in PDF or as a web page. So this contains the same information that would be on TED. You can have as many contract award notices as you want for each lot. As I showed you, sometimes you have to make sure you decide if you want to say anything about a lot or you don't say anything about a lot. So lot not awarded but it's ongoing, or nothing about the lot, or the lot no winner. But you can publish them in lots of groups, in lots of waves. So just keep going. There's a part I didn't show about transferring. You can transfer notices amongst yourself, between your work groups. I won't cover that today, it's a bit too much, but it is possible to transfer to maybe use another context. So if you have different work groups in your context, this is where your work groups appear, you can move things around between them. I didn't get a chance to show that too much. The dates, registry numbers. Why did it all change? Yeah. It's part of the e-procurement initiatives of the European Commission and the member states, the ministries who want to have more information. It has led to something quite complicated. But yes, the information is richer, and as we fill in the forms with more information, it will be valuable. There's a better structure for many things. There are fixed values instead of free text, means the notices will be easier to find. If you've had a chance to look at the TED website itself, has also changed, almost by coincidence. It's changed at the same time as eForms, but the search is very powerful, and now you can search for almost every field that exists. So you can imagine if you have instead of searching for free text, if I'm an economic operator, in the expert mode, I can search for very detailed information which apply just to me directly. Okay. This is not your problem, this is more for the suppliers, but just to be aware that the extra information you're putting in is being exploited by TED, and the companies that use TED information to make to provide a service for economic operators out there. So you put in more effort here, but there should be a bit of payback if the right suppliers will find them. So what do we have? Something about if you do not have a winner. Yes, every contract notice should have an end, a winner or not a winner. So those are the two end states. And as I showed, the option to say that if something is still ongoing, that's an option if you want. But you always have to close something. Can you export templates? You can transfer information to your colleagues, or you can have work groups to share things together. Yeah, so you can spread out your awards at different time. Okay, in Portugal, I don't know the exact case, but the Portuguese authorities have set up a system which should make your life a bit easier. About the links, contract tender, log result, see the part at the end I showed you. And okay, sorry, there's so many comments, we won't be able to do it anymore. Okay, I will wrap up here. I will stop sharing. You'll see the chat is coming through. We said we would finish at midday, so we won't try not to keep you any longer. Okay, so for the closing remarks, thank you very much for attending. We hope it was useful. We will send, maybe by next week, we should be able to send you the recording we have so that you can see it. The week after that, we will also share the recording of the other session we will have, where we'll try and show a bit more. Contract modification is a form we haven't shown. So amendments to contracts. Let's see if we can show again work groups, structured organizations, so to set something up, how to unpublish fields, how to hide them. That would be the features we'll cover with possibly some of your colleagues or the other colleagues who couldn't attend this time. And we will also collect what I see as like 47 pages of questions, trying to compress it into more readable texts so we can capture the main ideas. Some of them will be covered by what I've shown today, I think. Maybe so just look at the recording again in some cases. But there are also some very valid questions. Again, the validation is hard. We have noticed people who started last year, the number of questions, just when the number of questions came to the help desk, after about 2 or 3 months, the numbers went down. So we started getting more specific questions. So there are particular combinations which might be difficult for you. But the main ones, you will become quite familiar with the errors that would keep coming. And after a while, you will fill them in because you know that you're going to get the question later on. You will not hesitate so much. So become familiar with the fields that you use on a regular basis, and it will become a bit easier. So courage, and we'll let you know if we have any other sessions by email, or if we can announce things in the application as well. So thank you very much, and see you soon.